Strength. Okay. Now I can go figure out who that is. Who wanted to talk to us? Right? Oh, she was younger. Also, electronic branding. Right. And I literally didn't drive anywhere. That's her now. Right now. Right. Jump. Like a lip. It's jump spur. And he's like, oh no, I'm not just because I'm already in that. Yes. So I was just trying to find out. David, I mean, let's have fun. It's like even all about my first. That's big part. I have to go. Like, sorry, I was. That's where I got left. I knew that was where I've been there. That's why I went through this. No, that's why. So I got to get on there. But thanks for. Oh, my God. It's Angel's birthday. Not that. I'm so behind you. Go around. Oh, it's still a little bit of a choking acid, then it's still super stiff. We're getting to it. And meanwhile, I now have like 20 paintings. That's what it's what the Ross price. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the fancy ideas, right? Yeah. But I have one seven right now. Oh, so I have one. I read. And I think it's like I don't what's out it's right watching one. Happy one time. Oh my god, I'm hard to we can how side. My dog was but I wasn't very excited. But we're going to be school with the other one to enjoy life. We have a money side of stripes. Find it right. It's like Shine. My so and I get to like the most side. Have no problem. Side is bracelets. I have it. Yeah, she's try to do one of the staff for me. It's not comfortable. It's on which side it'll be on one side, on I know. Like, and stuff. You know, so, absolutely. Or if we are going to quite why working it. She said that's the stairs. She'll just stare and it's only I'm not fish looking. Keep yeah. Since I will show you. I'm still I feel like yeah. I'm excited about
Somebody said happy birthday. So say happy birthday, Dan. Say thank you, Dan, for saying happy birthday. Why am I supposed to say that? Say thank you for telling me happy birthday. Okay. Well, wave, say thank you for saying happy birthday. Okay. For all the things I said. Today with all these now. I was like, do I bring it back? Do I not bring it? Really glad I did not bring it back. Step out. Okay. Yeah. I need to borrow your pen. You forgot to give me a pen. Yeah. Yeah. Take further for no one tank and take line. Yeah. I can see that in the video now. It's not like we see.
You all hear me okay? We are gonna get started. Thanks for coming. Give everyone a couple of seconds on their seats. My name is Luke. I am the president of the Sacramento Aquarium Society. Welcome, everyone. Before I introduce the other board members, do we have anyone new with us for the first time today? Good number of people. Always good to see that. We're gonna start on my left hand and briefly go around, if you don't mind saying your name, where you're from, and what you keep. You know, about how many tanks you got, that kind of thing.
Start somewhere.
There are plenty more. Take some home. Thanks, look up who's next.
Running, mostly personal button. Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere from down to personal photos, then cons with Floyd, I submitted sculpted. Been doing it for what, 40-something years.
There were a couple more people, if I'm not mistaken. Well, if we're missing anyone, that's okay. You're welcome here anyways. You don't have to introduce yourselves if you don't want to. Like I said earlier, I'm the president. I have one of these name tags. The rest of the board members also do. So if you have any questions, you can find one of us. There are a lot of other people that are quite knowledgeable and have been here for a long time. So just chat around. You will probably get some answers. Nico is my vice president. He disappeared out the back of the room somewhere. He'll probably be back. Modesta in the back is our secretary. Joey in the other back, our treasurer. Oh, here's Nico. He's carrying a bench. We need seats for everyone, right?
If anyone needs chairs, there is a back room and it has more chairs.
And the rest of the board, we've got Jessica, Anissa, Joe, Aaron, Matt was over there. Okay, he'll be back.
Everybody's sitting here. Anybody else?
No, nobody's. Yeah, I don't think anybody's here.
That's it?
Okay,
There's two.
everybody needs seats. There are a couple chairs up front. Seats of 24.
Are we going to twist? Going once? Twice? Going back?
Yeah, if anyone wants to make it up.
I don't even know.
We've also got Jen on the board. She's also our speaker today. And is Dawn here?
He's here.
We've also got Dawn Cole. We've got name tags, so even if they're not here now, you can find them later. Without anything else, does anyone have any questions for me now?
I have a few names for people who I need to come pick up their membership cards from me. Nathan Pratt, Joel Baldwin, Karen Kurtz. Not here. And is there anybody here who works for Universal Satellite Accessories? That's who paid, that's the account they paid for it under, but I don't know the name of those. Okay. That's it.
Did the payment clear?
Yes. the payment's clear.
Thanks, Satellite Accessories.
Yeah.
So Jen is a good friend of a lot of ours. She's got a lot of takes, both at home and in her office. And she does really well reading things passively without going through the rigmarole of hatching baby Brian like most of us do. So we've got her here to tell us all about it.
Well, it is really great to be here and get to talk fish. Can you hear me okay? It's awesome. Great to see everybody. Full house today. I thought the rain was, but here you are.
That's all.
Yes. Yeah, I thought the rain would keep people away, but I'll keep this a little closer. Yes, there we go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad I get to talk fish. One of my favorites.
Thank you.
Okay, so I definitely have MTS, multi-tanks. My jam, I have MTS. Some of you may have it too. We have 39 planted tanks. The way that I can do this, I have a really busy job at UC Davis. I have a big program and I work a lot of hours, but the way I can do this is that they are natural tanks and they're balanced ecosystems. And that's really most of what I'm going to talk about today. I will talk about live foods for fry and small fish, breeding feeders, crayfish, and snails for the larger fish. I'll start out with a little about my pufferfish, Ollie, and his friends. And then I'll cover breeding cucumbers, cribs, pistos, rainbow shiners, medaka, killifish, Gilbert's piggy sunfish, and some others. And importantly, what fry can be raised in the tank with the parents as the first stop, which are the easy ones. So I have natural planted tanks. This is not the father fish method. It's not Wallstad. It's just relatively well-balanced ecosystems that have a lot of little microfauna, little critters in there that the fish can graze on, that maybe fry can graze on. So I'm really a big fan of EcoComplete substrate. It's kind of expensive when you work in a bag of it, but and it says do not dilute it with anything. No, I have everything. I had aqua soil, sand, gravel. I need some blue gravel in there. You can see, and I mix it really far, but it has iron and things that the plants are. So that's my favorite substrate to have. And I mix it all up. Sorry, I don't use CO2. I use plants that are hardy. These are heavily planted tanks. A lot of microfauna in there. Relatively low fish bioload. These are not, cichlid tanks with 50 cichlids in a tank, without plants. There's a lot of plants. It's a low bioload. And ramshorn snails are the other snails might eat your plants. Ramshorn snails really don't eat the healthy plants. They will eat pieces of the plants that are to feed. And I do a 25% water change each 1 to 2 weeks with light substrate vacuuming around the plants. And the benefit of that is you don't need to remove the heater and everything to do the water change. It's easier on the fish. Some of the fish that I have are very sensitive to water changes. They kind of hate the new water. And if they change something in our water, it doesn't kill all the fish. With the 75% water changes, there are some disasters when Sacramento adds too much chloramine or something into the water. So this is just the way I've been doing it for a lot of years. This is my favorite section. Just wanted to show you guys. These are really, really useful because the rigid plastic part is really long. And so you can put this down into the sand and the aqua soil, whatever you have, and have it raise up and the muck and the loam comes out. And then you just pinch off the flexible hose part to let the substrate fall back down. And then if you lift it up just a little bit, all the muck comes out into your bucket. And I have about 6 of these. I have for tank changes, I'm a scientist, I'm a nerd. I have a spreadsheet and a grid to make sure I don't miss anybody. So I have 6 of these for different sets of together. So that's my favorite. As I mentioned, I have a serious case of multiple tank syndrome. This is my Instagram, Ollie the Pufferfish. That's my buddy Ollie. And we have, it says 37 tanks, but it's 39 now. I did the year-end countdown everywhere. The new year, and it's like, oh, yeah, more snug here. So there's the 2.5 gallon little fry tanks that you can see on the left. Up in the loft to Ollie's 300-gallon aquarium. And Ollie is my beloved big pufferfish. He's a very special puffer. And who needs a dining room anyway? So we gave up the dining room for this monstrosity. So, yeah. Ollie is 14 inches. Oh, big. And this is when he was a little baby. So, well, Bahaka, are you crazy? People ask me. I don't know that I would have voluntarily signed up, but he spent there so to be his papers. And a little take on my desk where I work at the Net Center, and wanted a little peep uppers just before we knew from the peep upper gurus that you have to have 6. So I got 3. Fortunately, just 3. And it's like, well, they just kept growing. So yeah, about 1,000 gallons and 3 huge tanks, and 9 years later, here we all are. I didn't get rid of any of them.
You still have all.
I still have those fish. Yeah, I hustle for those fish.
How long do they live usually?
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm all in. So yeah, I'm always my buddy. So learn a few things. Be careful what you buy, and that you trust the seller. This is great to get things here at auction because we know each other, right? If somebody tries to sell us a Bahaka and says it's a peep upper, we could be like, wait a minute. Okay. Try not to get overly attached to charismatic fish with big eyes. They like you. Right. Speaking of hustling for your fish, yes. Not all Bahaka eat other fish. You hear that there are these terrors and they can't live with anything. Yeah. Nope. So they don't eat other fish as long as they're fed daily with silver tongues and learn to come get their stuff directly from you. They don't like catfish. They don't like things on their turf. They eat snails, and you do need a cleanup crew. So if you get these guys as little babies, like I did, like the size of your fingernail, try some guppies or endlers or past steppers with them and just see. They beg like crazy. They really are water puppies, especially when they get big like that. And last but not least, it's really good to have a supportive, significant other at home. So shout out to my husband, Mark. That whole giving up the dining room pickup. We have tanks all around our house, even in the upstairs bathroom. That's right. So this is what they look like in little duck. Really do look like peep puffers. This is after they kept growing.
How big is he?
He's 14 inches now.
Oh my
Here,
God.
he's about the size of my thumbnail. There's another one over there and one hiding.
Wow.
So the one that was hiding was actually Ollie, and he was the baby, but he caught up. So yeah, this is what they look like. A couple weeks after I got them, I went back to the pet store that is no longer in business here, and they said, "One day they were mislabeled. One day bring them back." I'm like, "No, I'll bring them back." No, what I was in. Here we are. So Ollie is our special puffer. So he has a big overbite like SpongeBob, and his teeth don't grind down, and so that means he needs dentistry. And some big puffers do need dentistry. So again, not knowing what I was getting into, this is a really scary thing to have to do, to use a rub tool to cut your fish's teeth. But we have to do it. We have to do it regularly. He uses teeth trim at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. I have a blog. Just look up Bahaka pufferfish tooth trimming, and you'll find it if you need it. So here's Ollie with his little overbite, big overbite. As I mentioned, he's 14 inches long. He's a big, beautiful Bahaka, and the teeth will get in the way of him being able to eat snails or clams or shrimp or anything like that. And so you really have to trim. So this is the nightmare of having to have the fish anesthesiologist come to our house.
Wow.
Give him the drugs, make sure his fins are not moving. It's something called fin pull, MS222. And then mentioned my awesome husband, Mark, holds the butter knife behind his teeth so that I can use the Dremel tool and saw his teeth down.
Wow.
Really fun. And then you can see up on the upper right that they're short, and you can crunch a snail again. That's a snail in his mouth. Happy fish once he can eat the snails. Ollie's the biggest fish I have. He's 14 inches, and this is his 300-gallon tank, and that used to be our nut.
How many puffers do you have?
I have the 3. So the other 2 are almost as big. Polly's at home. She's about 13 inches, and then Wally's about 5. They're all. Sorry?
They each have their own tank.
Oh, of course, yes. They don't care about the small fish, but supposedly they'll tear each other to shreds if I put them together. So here's Sister Polly, and that's her tank. She has a 185 gallon in our what used to be our living room. And she's the same age, almost the same size. Fortunately, she has no tooth issues. Her teeth grind down just fine with all the crunchy diet they get. Thank you to everyone who gives me snails for these guys. Appreciate it. I breed a lot of them. Here's brother Wally. This is our office mascot. I have an office at UC Davis Health. We are in a research building, and he has a fine set of chompers. There's no overbite. He doesn't need any dentistry with this crunchy diet. So what these guys eat, again, thank you to everyone who brings any snails for these slides, and also for Audra's puppers. Oh, she left, but Audra has some big puppers too, and they really love ramshorn snails. So what they like are shrimp or prawns, things with shells. They have to have legs and eyes. They have to look like they're alive. Shelled shrimp are mostly ignored. They eat crayfish, clams, crabs, some mussels, sparingly. Big earthworms for vitamins. I don't do anything to the earthworms or night crawlers, just drop them right in, and tons of snails. Yeah, question.
And how, can you tell us how to sex them since some may not know?
I tell the females will, after they're a few years old, they'll start dropping eggs. Of course, I have a bunch of guppies in there, so the eggs get eaten, but I have seen Polly lay some eggs. It's just like a fine covering of eggs everywhere. The males are a little more colorful. Their bellies tend to be more yellow and the tail more yellow. But until they drop the eggs, you can't really tell. So yeah, tons of snails. So we are so lucky to live here in Sacramento. We have a lot of international markets. There's a lot of different Asian foods, and also I get a lot of stuff from the America's largest online Asian supermarket. So they deliver all the food right to my door now since I'm busy. And I work at Stockton and Broadway in a research building, so Vinfat is right down the street, and they have things like frozen whole little crabs, which are great. Things don't need to be alive; they just need to look like they are something that the couple wants to eat. This is one of the shrimp that they like with the eyes and feelers and legs and everything. So also. So what about those tiny puppers, the ones I was trying to get at the beginning? So pea puppers, yeah, 11 more. So this is showing the male pea pupper trying to coerce the rather plump lady puffer down toward his nest. And the males on the pea puppers, they don't have a dark stripe down their tummy. So he gets her down there, and then the other suitor comes and drives him away. They are sometimes called murder beans for good reason. So the Oaxaca are actually much more mellow than these guys. That's a little scoundrels. So I've been breeding these, and I use the Tupperware trick. So I also have a lot of killifish and killifish spawning mops, and there's online how to make these mops. So they get sterilized, they're placed into a container, a glass bowl, or a Tupperware down with a couple rocks, and make sure that none of the eggs fall to the substrate. You can see a couple of the puffers over here. There's one, it's kind of dark, but there's one male right there, and then the females up above. And they actually sleep in this yarn. It's soft yarn. They like it. And so I just take the whole Tupperware out of the tank. I gently shake out the eggs, and they'll fall out. They are not sticky.
And then, so when I was doing this,
Yeah.
everything I read online said that the eggs were.
They are not.
I noticed that as well.
They've all read.
Yeah.
Texas,
Yeah.
Sacramento water. Yeah.
Does it have to be green?
Like, what is it?
24,
So-
24.
Excellent question. I don't know, because I've always had green too. You can see blue. I like blue too. And they're fine with that. But I've always wondered about red or black or something.
Because like, and he doesn't like leg around string. Or, like,
Let's
yeah.
try it. All right. Yeah.
You
You've got lots of red yarn. Let's try it. First, scare them away.
Jan, other fish don't care. I don't know if puppers were, but I've bred lots of
do
different
not care. Gotcha.
one purple and pink. They
So
don't,
Phil said they had.
No. Okay.
don't.
Gotcha. I don't think killifish care. I've seen in our killifish group. And it's,
Mary used purple because she liked purple.
yeah, I think it's just, it goes better with the root. Use green, and they are planted to use. So. Okay, and so this is what the eggs look like. You take any debris or ones that weren't fertilized or anything out. And they really don't like any flow. So most eggs we put with a bubbler, right? If we're growing them outside. These are fine just still. And the babies, when they hatch, they really don't move or eat for 3 to 5 days. And they're not aerodynamic at all. They're just little running those things and they don't like to be blown around. So yeah, here's one in the upper right. That's what it looks like after it hatches. This is one that's about a week old and next to a dime. They're very, very small. And so I just keep them in a Tupperware with clean water, clipped to the side of a 5 gallons. So this was the most high maintenance breeding that I had done in quite a while. It's important for dim lighting until their eyes can develop. And this is how I clip it on, and this is what they look like. And yes, I was feeding them brine shrimp, as we've mentioned, my least favorite live food. But sometimes it just happy with it. So these little guys really like it. And there's terrible little angelfish that I've been breeding that I'll mention in a minute. They like it too. Other than that,
Baby brine, or did you do full size?
baby brine, yeah. I don't even know where to get full size brine. Yeah, hatching. Oh, okay.
What do you have against brine shrimp?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work.
Hatching baby brine shrimp is not my favorite thing, and I'm always terrified that one of the fish will eat one of the unhatched eggs, and it's supposed to block their intestines or something. I don't know if that's true. It's an old wives' tale, but I go to great lengths to get those out. Yeah, please.
So they wouldn't start on your microworms?
They eat them after a while, but they just really like something jiggling in front of their faces. I do transition them to the other stuff. Well, I start them with Paramecium and then they go to this. So then they grow up and they're teething puppers, and I give them all the live foods I'm going to talk about in just a minute. These are in a 15-gallon grow out tank, and hopefully they're learning to eat some frozen bloodworms, hopefully. So I mix those with black worms, and we'll talk about it in a minute. And they tend to spit out the frozen stuff and go for the bloodworms, but for the black worms. So I maintain a lot of live foods for all the different fish. Those guys were the most high maintenance I had done until like a month ago. And we'll get there. I might just stay in for baby brine shrimp. So I keep Paramecium, microworms, vinegar eels, zero worms, griddle worms, blackworm scuts, ramshorn snails, antlers and speeders, and marble crayfish. And you would think that, oh, baby brine shrimp would be a lot easier, right? Me somehow. These are just they just sit in my lot on the rail, and I take care of them once in a while, and they're pretty easy. So vinegar eels, you just put them in a jar with 50-50 water and cider vinegar, a little thin slice of apple, and I add one small dodgeball for extra protein to kind of gut load them before I feed them. And they can sit there for like a month with a slice of apple if you don't need them and your fry aren't big enough. And what I think a lot of people hate about vinegar eels is that you're supposed to put them in like a Corona bottle, and the fresh water comes up and you put cotton down. And no, take a little brine shrimp net like this, swipe it through, tap off most of the vinegar, and then just switch that in some clean water. Use a turbidizer, add the fry to the soak. Super easy. Doesn't dilute the culture. It feels good for another month. Microworms, so you put them in a Tupperware with moistened potato flakes. Seal the top with a little bit of cotton, pull through a little X so that no mites or anything get in there. And the worms crawl up the sides, and you can get them with, a lot of people will use a paintbrush, some people use their finger. That terrifies me. I'm afraid I'm going to get them on my skin or something. They're just going to grow. I use coffee stirrers for this and for a lot of things. Right back in my ears. So I use coffee stirrers for a lot of things. And you just take them and cook on that and swirl it into the fry tank. Super easy. So Daphnia. I have an ongoing love-hate relationship with Daphnia. They grow great outdoors. Well, we know the little tiny things that look like Daphnia way easier. Daphnia crash. You get this great culture going, and then they just crash on you, and it's hard. Yeah. So, yeah, I have some cultures on them, and I keep them indoors, and then they crash, and then I just leave it for a while, and then the eggs hatch and they grow back up, and I keep giving them green water. And then they come back. So some people give them yeast. I don't like to have yeast around. Just don't like it. And the little Movina, I keep it just a 2.5 gallon tank of each, and the Movina I just scoop out and put into the tanks that I'm growing. So brindleworms, interesting story. I was always growing them on fertilized soil with small moistened dotted vegetables, and I was collecting them off the sides with a paintbrush or a coffee stir stick. And these Tupperwares, sometimes they get mites. And so these mosquito dunks and mosquito dunk chunks are a good larvicide. Also, if you have tubs outside that get mosquito larvae and you don't want to let them with some of this tube, just throw this in there. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt surprisingly even the Daphnia, which are really sensitive. It doesn't hurt any fry or anything living outside. And in a culture of any kind of worm that's growing on a substrate, it really does keep the mites away. But then one of our wonderful members of directions right here in the front brought these beautiful, beautiful brindleworm cultures here, and I got some of them. Yeah, they're just cool, aren't they? And she has them for sale in the auction I see. And she grows them on peat, and I really like it. So I'm putting just a couple of moistened dog kibbles. This is science puppy kibble, small ones, under the little what is this?
Needlepoint mesh.
Needlepoint mesh. Yeah, I'm not a crafter, so I do not. So the little cool plastic grid that they grow up on, you just take that grid off and swish it in some clean water and use a jerk baster to put those in all the tanks. So I'm doing this a lot, and I got 2 cultures from them, and they're really sustaining a lot of my cultures. So thank you, Andrea. Welcome. Scuds, friend or foe. You know a lot about these guys. So this is not the photo. This is the only one. I think that's not my photo. Credit to Ariana K. Got it off the internet. So friend or foe, it depends on the type of the scud and the fish. There are a lot of different kinds of scud. I grow one that seems to be kind of fish friendly. I don't even remember where I got it. It's on some kind of plants that came to me. I don't know what type it is, but they grow really well in the tanks. They're not hurting any baby fry. They don't eat fish eggs. The fish that I have that I'll talk about in a minute love to hunt and eat them. In shrimp tanks, they can outnumber the shrimp. I put them in my shrimp tanks, and I do pull them out because as I see the big ones growing or mating, because they can outnumber the shrimp and they just outcompete them for food. I don't know if they kill them.
Do they eat your live plants?
They do not know. They eat detritus and the edges of the plants that are dying. So yeah, because I have them in all my planted tanks. Yeah, good question.
They love hornwort. Hornwort.
They love it.
Yes. Yes.
They will
They
eat.
will devour hornwort, but they don't seem to eat much else.
Let's see. So they give you bad news for snails. They are calcium miners, and I put cuttlebone in the tank, but they really like the snail shells, and I don't know if they ever kill the snakes to get it. So the life cycle, the male scuds grab on the female's back and carry her around so that they can mate with her as soon as she sheds. Ultimate stalker. And the female then carries her eggs in a marsupial pouch for about 2 weeks, and they'll hatch. The babies are just like the adults, just very small. They emerge in about 4 days, about half a millimeter long, and they can breed in a month. So you can see that they can take over pretty easily. But fish really love them, especially the pea puffers, the wild bettas, the dwarf cichlids that I have, the wild bettas, and different types of fish just love chasing them. And it's really fun for them. So I just keep them in a fish bowl at room temperature, Tupperware. I feed them any detritus plants, plant clippings, a little bit of fish food, and rinse out the water once in a while for a brine trip net, put it back in. And what's interesting about these guys, they will eat hair algae. And so if I get any plants that are too close to the light and have algae, I just put it in a scud tank for a little bit and they clean it up and I can take it back in. So gyrro worms, microphags, these are little tiny red worms, reddish brown worms that are like a tiny version of the California blackbird. And I feed them spaghetti. I cook the spaghetti, feed it in small amounts. I use a clean small paintbrush to get gobs out and drop that into the tank. And for things that feed near the surface, I put it onto a plant leaf near the surface, and then the little worms will come out and go, how much you get? So those are pretty easy. And all of these things really just sit on the shelf for a month. Blackworms need a little more care. So I have that top left critter keeper is my blackworm tank. It has a bubbler in it. It's kind of murky because I've thrown in some leaves and stuff they like to eat. But hopefully nobody's squeamish about worms. But I use the coffee stir sticks to throw in there. I really like the things. And they get microfilm all over them. And they eat, gives them anchorage. And I just keep them in shallow water in a Tupperware in the fridge or in room temperature. I do rinse the ones daily or every other day at room temperature. Unfortunately, I've kind of taken over the guest room bathroom now. So I'm like, yeah, I know. They're not just in the tub. They're in containers. So that's just making a pretty picture. These are the leeches. These are the blackworm leeches. So
Why do you have leeches?
because they come in the blackworm samples. So mostly when you get them from the local fish store, they will have these guys in them. They're Philadelphia leeches. Yeah. Wasn't that cute? They just did that. I just like scoped one. So look at them one day and they were all right. But anyway, when you get them, put them into a Tupperware tub. These things will just adhere out, and then just pour the worms off into a clean container that you want to keep them in. These don't hurt anything. They do. I mean, they don't hurt your fish. It's not the type of leech that would get on you or would get on the skin of the fish. But I had a greedy female guppy try to eat one once, and it was like lodged. It was way too big, and it was lodged in her mouth. And I had to get her in the neck, get the tweezers, get it out of her. And so just get them out. It's really easy to adhere to them.
Question,
Yeah.
do you get those bright red flatworms mixed in with your blackworms?
I haven't seen them once in a while, yeah. So the people that sell the worms say they're not dangerous. I've seen like when they're kind of just a piece of one and I didn't realize I was putting it in there. I've seen my fish just eat it and they don't have any.
I won't touch it.
They won't touch them.
Reading the tank. Nothing eats.
My hill streams like them.
Those things,
Mhm.
yeah.
Really, the red ones?
I don't know what color they are. They're kind of brown.
Depends on.
They get really big.
Yeah, they get like 5 inches long. Wow.
And I see them sometimes in those killifish mops. They'll get into the middle of it and just eat this stuff. Pull them out. Clearly the killies weren't eating. But yeah, just adhere these guys out. And this is gross, but I chop them for the small fish sometimes. Most of the fish can just take a whole worm. Some of the wild bettas, when they're really little, they're afraid to take the whole thing. Just chop them. The pea puffers can get kind of scared of them when they're really, really tiny, like the size of half a pea. And this is how they kind of grow in nature. So the halves will regenerate in the substrate of the tank. And so this is kind of sad, but guppy coals are feeders for big fish. But really, if you're going to do this, please find a trusty friend or someone here at the auction that has clean tanks. We have a band app where people trade fish and guppies and things, and the SAS auction here is a great place to get them if you know who's selling them. And please don't buy any fish feeders at the local fish store. They're just so riddled with disease. So stack endlers, and I have a couple here tonight. Really small little endlers, and they breed really well. They don't take much space. I just grow them in a big, like a sweater tub, room temperature. And Rich finally got some of these here and bred them up and enjoy feeding them to his rare cichlids. He said that the cichlids would never breed, and he put some of these little endlers in there, and they suddenly bred. So I mean, it's nature. It's nature. And then marble crayfish. So these are a favorite for the pufferfish, but they will decimate your plants. So if you're feeding them to pufferfish, be sure that it eats it and it doesn't get them. These are self-floating crayfish, and it just takes one female to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of babies. I just found about 25 in Holly's tank. She had missed one, and there were a lot of little ones in there. So they're a complete rescape of her tank. He got, I think, all of them. And then Wally's learning to take them from a big fish net. He just goes right in and gets them out of the net. Now, last but not least on the live foods, paramecium culture. This is my first food for mini fry. These are probably my favorite culture because little tiny fry that have just hatched, they really love these paramecium. And I had put a little article about this in the Tropical News in 2023. And I just put some notes for this lecture about the different cultures and different things that I'm reading into this month's Tropical News. Thank you to Jack, if you're listening, for getting that out last night, actually. So thank you. And these are really easy to grow. So I got a pure culture of them a few years back at a killifish show. I just grow them in a jug of clean water, one small dog kibble. I'm a big fan of dog kibbles. I use water from a Brita or a pure pitcher, put a cotton round or something. You know, everything needs oxygen. So people have gotten these oxygen from me and taken them home and say, oh, they died. I said, did you loosen the cap? Oh, no, I forgot. So everything needs air. Put a coffee filter, a paper towel, something under the cap, or leave it loose. And then just kind of swirl every few days. But again, these guys live on the counter for a month. They're fine. Or longer, yeah.
I've got one from you that I forgot about for 6 months.
6 months, all right. Yeah.
Put
You feed them?
cat food in there and they came back.
They're really, really resilient. So why not? Why not have them for if you have some surprise fry? And so I just kind of, when the stuff's about an inch thick, I just put it into a new juice container, and yeah, I take a turkey baster straight out of the culture at the top, put it into the fry, and you can see that they just love it. They taste it around and eat it. And using the kibble, it's not smelly like if you're growing infusoria with rotting fishes. So what I do for the fish, like cribs shown here, that really grow in the tanks with parents, at least for a while, I just really drop a cloud of paramecium, like a full turkey baster, directly down to where the fry are. And same with microworms or vinegar eels, or when they get a little bit bigger, the giro worms or the angle worms. And you can see the fry just swooping in and getting in. The parents will probably not eat the paramecium, but the larger worms they will eat. So these are the cribs. They're dwarf cichlids. They breed really easily, breed under most conditions, have lots of fry. No, not picky. They're great parents. They have eggs in a cave and drive away the other fish. They're a lot of fun. And then I've read Epistogramma before, same type of dwarf cichlid. Beautiful little fish. They love their caves and live foods very much. And again, great parents. And I did stop breeding these because I really like these tanks that are low maintenance, and these guys really wanted a low pH. So I was bringing home, distilled water all the time. I don't have a RO system. Although now the moved out. Anyway, we seem to have fairly high GH and KH in the area of Sacramento where I live. So I did breed them for a while, and they're beautiful, and I love them. But I have stopped breeding them now. So this is a little fry. You can see it up by the cave there, and this just shows some of the parental behavior. So this guy has strayed too far, and mom comes, and it looks like she's going to eat it, right? Oh, she ate it. No, she's taking it back to its bedroom because it got too far away from the cave. She's worried that somebody else is going to get it. So somebody's like, get back in your room. So I just really I enjoy them and the crebensis. The cribs grow in Polly's tank. She doesn't care. The cribs are there. They will take food out of her. It's fine. And then the Australian killifish. I have the burnt orange strain, and they grow up in the tank with their parents. There are a lot of young ones shown here. And so I just keep dumping in paramecia and vinegar eels, and whether I know that they're a little tiny fry or not, I just keep putting it in, and then these little guys happen. And the vinegar eels can live 3 to 5 days in fresh water. And so these guys all live together. The males are a little bit competitive with each other for the females, but they don't seem to pay much attention to the young ones until they're of breeding age. The garden killifish also grow up in the tank with their parents. I have moms just all around the edge. They grow up. And then in college, I bred angelfish and bettas. I traded them to Capital Aquarium. I think some of us remember Capital Aquarium, much loved local store. And now I breed these naturally green wild betta mahakiensis. And the reason that I breed them and the embellis is that these in the Venom Hawkeye can live together as pairs in a heavily planted tank. And if it's well seasoned with all the little microfauna and different little infusoria and paramecium and cyclops and stuff, the frog will grow right up in the tank with the parents. And those are the ones that I bring to auction. They just grow up in there just like the killifish. And I just scoop them out and leave them here. I raise a variety of plecos. The male raises them in these watering spike caves, so I don't have to do anything for them but feed the dad and then the babies. I do put the live food in there for them. And these are really great. These, so if you're looking for pleco caves, these watering spikes, they love them. All my plecos love those. And the Hellstream loaches, shout out to Dan Brown. Thank you. So I had these guys, I had 6 of them for a few years, and they would never breed. And I was so trying to figure it out. I have a waterfall in there. It's kind of lower temperature. Everything, the mossy rocks, everything would not breathe. And I think I just had 6 that were all ones. I got some from Dan, and suddenly I have little babies around, and they're just all so cute. And you see the nuzzling of the parents up there, and they just up there. So thank you, Dan. Maybe Dan's are just magical fish. And then the rainbow shiners, thanks to Phil Farrell for the breeding colony. I really love these guys. They're really beautiful fish. I use the Tupperware and rocks kind of system to get their eggs, and I don't isolate eggs out. I just take that whole container to another tank and the eggs come out. And shout out to Lowell for the genius egg traps. This is now higher tech than the Tupperware. It's an egg trap where the eggs fall down. And a huge thank you to Shadows and Rich Designs for the beautiful art sculpture, which I haven't had the heart to put into the tank yet because I'm going to get algae on it. So it's not going to be in front of the tank as a showcase. But it's right when you come in our front camp. Okay. And these pretty fish. And I just really love this fish. So the fry are very tiny. They can only eat the paramecium for the first week or so. These are a few weeks old, and these are in a tank where they came out of that egg nest. So the Gilbert's pygmy sunfish, Anatomma gilberti, another beautiful native North American fish. You can see him doing his dance. His lady friend who's over to the side. And thanks again to Phil Farrell for bringing these into our area for the original breeding colony. And these grow up in the tank with their parents. They do this derpy little dance. They waggle all their fins, waggle their tail, and try to get the girl to come over to their little nest.
Is Laura in here?
Let's see. And then just wanted to give a shout out also to NANFA, the North American Native Fishes Association. There are a lot of cool fish there, and some of them can be kept in outdoor ponds, but here, make sure that they can tolerate the heat. They can take our cold, a lot of them. But so I said I would get to this, my least favorite thing that I've read, maybe ever, angelfish. So in sharp contrast to those native fish and all the different ones I have, I do have some genetically engineered ones as well. And I have nothing against blowfish or genetically engineered fish. It's just that these are really, really hard to raise. And I didn't know what I was getting into again. Thank you to Nico's Nature for that beautiful sculpture that's in this tank. It's a natural tank, blowfish. Really like this. So what I've been thinking about this, okay, so you look up everything. So I grabbed a little, you're not supposed to breed them, but they bred. They do what angelfish do. So they kept getting eaten. And one day, every time they bred, and one day I just took a little scoop of the babies out that was shown a couple of slides ago. Not to mention that, but this little scoop here, that little scoop. So just like 40 little fish, just took them and took them home. And I was looking up how to keep them. And so all the advice on the internet: grow in a clean, substrate-free tank, feed baby brine shrimp, and clean the bottom daily. So that's exactly what I do not want to do. Tanks are set up to avoid this, but I did once. That's only once. Thank you to Justin for the beautiful tissue culture plans. I knew they were clean, so I could put them in with the babies. They had to be clearly very, very sterile. Oh, and there's that silly little thing from Timu. It really is a little filter. It's about 2 inches gross. Babies, they would see it worked. So I was growing them in distilled water, a little bit of discus trace. That's a killifish trick. And just, yeah, they grew up and now they're in with guppies and they're about a month old. And don't worry, Glowfish Corporation, I will not sell them. They have a patent, you're not supposed to sell them. I have 39 tanks, you know, I can spread them out, give them to friends, you know. And I'm not gonna do that again. If I decide I want to raise any type of angelfish, I'm not gonna do that method. I'm gonna try to raise them like I raise everything else. See if they make it.
How are they genetically modified? Like what?
Glowfish have the gene for a coral, these have a pink coral gene inserted into their genome, so the parents carry it. All the babies are obviously pink. So it's in every cell of their body. And
So it's like, is it a color?
yeah, it's a bright pink color.
Gotcha.
Pink color.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a pattern.
Okay, got it.
The time they're close, it's just super bright. They're cute. I love them, but I just didn't like raising them. I don't have time for that. It's crazy. Anyway, the other fish that I do often raise outside the parents' tank, but before I go into mini natural tanks that are all seasoned and have little things for them to pick at. Medaka. So Medaka rice fish, very cool. I grow them outside a lot. We put them on these scrubby sponges for them to brush off their eggs in the morning. And this is what they look like. You can see their little eyes and everything. But I do put those into more natural tanks. And the reason that I started doing that, they will eat their babies, but I grow them in these kiddie pool ponds outside. And the babies would grow, but this summer we have so many dragonfly and damselfly larvae. I just wasn't getting any babies, so I just started pulling the eggs and bringing them inside. Now that is the larva of a dragonfly. You know how beautiful dragonflies are? This is what they look like when they live in the water. It's sticky looking.
Spiders.
They do, but worse because they eat baby fish. So, and then I use a coffee filter basket sometimes for catfish eggs because the catfish just lay the eggs on the glass and make up the tanks. They would be gone immediately, so I just put them in. And then a couple more slides just showing hacks that I use. Useful glue for landscaping, the Gorilla Glue, super glue gel. I use Leslie's pool supply stand to mix with that expensive Eco Complete and other stuff. Good to know, base comes off of sponge filters, they do clog, just use a wire to clean that maybe or two. Things I've learned the hard way by things away. And I use Dollar Tree stuff a lot. So Mr. Clean, the sponges with no soap, great for getting algae off of things. All the Tupperware they have at Dollar Tree is just fine to use. It has never affected any of my spawns. And these are great for sinking cucumber, anything if you want to sink into the tank for the geckos or to collect snakes. My favorite stuff. And then I have the outdoor fish oasis. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but in the summertime, I just have a lot of kids and stuff, and I just hang out there a lot of different things. Love it. So that's that. And do we have any questioners?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have. And it's not in eat. Try. Each doesn't want. They'll be smart too.
Yeah.
What kind of look at them?
Yeah. The trumpet snails are hard to break their teeth, which would have been good for all. He actually lost one of his teeth from trigram teeth. I had to set up more competition for the ramshorns, but they really did get right in the middle of their shell. And yeah, the trumps are just the people try to leave the trumps, they just rip their little bodies right out of the shell. The hawk, I don't think they know how to do that. Because it's so cute.
Yeah, even out right now.
Yeah.
I just feed him snaps.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah.
He's pretty much
Right. And I do sometimes, I know the purists would hate this, but I do give them the cook plan sometimes because I also give them the whole minerals and they're not separate any by the seeds and stuff. So yeah, please.
We're taking number 4. That's
Face in that. Parents for a husband would kill me.
purposeful.
Check the side. I do more things outside. I do counting and everything. Yeah, please.
Are you anesthesia of upper fin?
Could you listen?
How do you anesthesia a pufferfish?
Oh, yeah,
Is
it's
that
an anesthesia called MS-222, and it's also called finful. And we measured out very specifically, so on my blog, I have the measures. It's calculating, doing the math, calculating.
You put it in the water.
And then you just put it in and you wait until nothing's moving.
Oh, so it's like salt water.
Yeah, so. And then we have like 1 minute to do this. And I did the dremel tool because if anybody's gonna cut in the curve, it's gonna be me. I couldn't live with anybody else that did it. I don't know if I can live with myself, but so far we've done it like 6 times. Anybody else? If we want to get to that option.
You did that yourself, the trimming of the fish.
I do take them in. No, I think that would be more dramatic to it. We just take them out for 2 minutes and then Cameron spread everything. And he just goes down. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you ever come to my house and I have these nice planted tanks, and there are these hideous red silk plants in the 300-gallon tank. Those are always for plants. He just, I'm not going to have to see that little tiny thing. And anytime I try to remove them, he just dashes from side to side. I put it back in and okay. Oh, no, just in about. Yeah, just that big. I get some from the bake shop right up the street, right past Main Street, any bake shop. The big fish like the.
Like colors.
And yeah, and I also, I did a feature in apartment in Dragon Country and I got them. They like. It's okay.
Okay, before we go on the break, I just wanted to quickly say that we now do have Finding tickets on sale. The pre-sale price at the meeting here is $25 and you can get those with Modesta. Someone asked me about tables too. You can also get a table with Modesta. They're $100 and just like always, members are allowed to split a table. So if you're one of those people that says, I would like to maybe sell, but not really sure if I can make all that money, maybe split a table. Each table includes 2 tickets. So if you split it, you get your ticket for free. So you don't need to sell much. If you breed some fish or something, people have been looking for fish every Finding. Chances are pretty good. And then in the coming weeks, just look out, we'll also have the website, which is working on some back-end things, but the website will be up. But the best deal for the ticket will be here at the meeting, so come see Modesta. And then we'll take a break, take a last round, last look at the auction, check out the raffle over there, check out the silent auction. We've got some cool driftwood, some art, some other things. And yeah, then enjoy the auction in about 15 minutes. And big round of applause for Jan again.
16. Great.
Oh, it's just a it's just a sweater. It's Pictures are original.